Southeast Missouri State head coach Tom Matukewicz. The Redhawks coming off a narrow loss to Murray State this past week. They will host Austin Peay this weekend. Coach, just thoughts on your team, and then we'll go into some questions.
Yeah, well, obviously want to congratulate Dean Hood. I think him being back in the league is going to make us all better, and I know what it feels like to be an underdog and win a big game, and what that program has gone through and through COVID and all those things. So just want to make sure to congratulate those guys, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for them and their program. And so now it's whether you win or lose, you got 24 hours, you got to move on. Can't let Murray beat us twice, and get ready for a super talented Austin Peay team.
Thanks, Coach. If there's questions for Coach Took, just let me know down in the chat, and I can call on you. Or Tom, I guess if you have, just go ahead with your question. If anybody else has one, then let me know.
Coach, Austin Peay may be the most misleading 1-4 record in the country when you look at their schedule. They're a lot better than 1-4, it seems like. So what do they do offensively? Because statistically against OVC teams, they've had a lot of success offensively.
Yeah, for sure. I think it starts with players. They got number 11 in the slot. I think it's Wilson or whatever. He's an All-American. Sneed kid, number 4, is a big back. But when you watch him against Tennessee State, he had big gains, and there was DBs that had angle on him that weighs 20 pounds less than him, and he pulled away. So even though he's over 200 pounds, he has a long speed that if you misfit it or whatever, it could go the distance. And I think Coach, he's an offensive guy, and certainly does a great job, a lot of tempo, and they're hard to defend.
This is the second week in a row you're facing a new coach, a new coaching staff, and all that. Does that make it a lot more challenging?
Well, I mean, it has just a different set of challenges. Certainly, if you play a program, the second time you get a better feel for how they handle certain situations, that's a challenge. But at least going into this one, you have a couple of games to go off of. They had a bye week, so I'm sure they may have, they come up. They're going to have a great plan against us, I'm sure.
Okay. They give up a lot of sacks statistically. So what are some things that your defensive line or linebackers, your front seven, can do to kind of get to their quarterback and create problems, or maybe not get sacks, but at least get pressures on their guys?
I got to stop the run.
Okay. It starts with that.
If you don't stop the run, then you don't even need to pass it. So you got to get them in passing situations, and then, of course, you got to execute once you get it in there.
Okay. Shabari and Al both generate turnovers last week, and this between Southern Illinois and Eastern Illinois, and last week, Shabari and Al are playing. I don't know how they are, and maybe there's other possessions they didn't cover well or whatever, but they're generating turnovers. How does their presence in the secondary affect the rest of your defensive attack?
Well, I mean, just the turnover margin is like the number one key to victory. They're winning games for us, and we play a lot of, even our zone coverage is basically one-on-one out there. And so teams will try us, and they got to be able to hold up, and man, they are playing outstanding. They both need to get better in the run game a little bit, tackling, in the secondary, offenses are good enough to get the ball to them. Sometimes you got to be able to tackle, and that's a concern this week with the big back that Austin Peay has.
Okay. Health-wise, I think Jalen Dobson maybe sat out the second half or something. I saw him maybe in street clothes. Anybody that's out of the 2 deep that, or are you guys in pretty good shape health-wise?
Can't comment on injuries, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that works for me. I appreciate your time, Coach.
Thanks, Tom.
Coach, talk a little bit more about the Murray game. They scored 17 in the first quarter, but then you all only allowed 7 the rest of the way, and you came back and you were right there at the end. Just talk about them getting off that quick start, but you being able to get back in the game.
Yeah, it was. You really don't know what kind of team you have until you face adversity, and it's hard to manufacture that type of adversity that a game brings you. Certainly during a COVID year, and you've had limited preparation of it, and so I think that was probably the biggest hurdle. Was we go right down and score, we playing well, and then we get a bad snap and a pick six. And it just turned everything because we didn't respond well and we got in our feelings, and that led to all these other problems that ended up happening in the game. And so, just really challenged them. I think that the good thing though is we did eventually respond. We needed to do it sooner, and then in the fourth quarter, we started doing a little better job and got it close. And but again, the game-winning plays, Murray made. There's a tremendous 4th and 7 they had a 4-minute drive. So at the end of the day, they won the game.
Anybody else? Other questions for Coach Tuke? Coach, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks,
Best
Coach.
of luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate it, guys.